Decades ago, if you wanted a lower electric bill, the path was plain and it cost nothing. Walk the house, switch off what you are not using, fix the drafts around the windows and doors, and replace whatever appliance had gotten old enough to pull more power than it should. Careful people did those things as a matter of habit, passing the practice down like any other piece of household sense. It was not exciting, but it worked every single time. Now we have arrived at a world where small plastic boxes, sold online, on late-night television, and in the checkout aisles of hardware stores, promise to slash your power bill by 30%, sometimes more, just by sitting in a wall outlet and doing nothing you can see or measure. I have watched these devices come and go for a long time, and I will tell you plainly, the gap between what they claim and what they actually do is one of the widest I have run across in any product category. That is not an accident. It is a sales strategy built on a concept most homeowners have never heard of and will not stop to look up, and the folks most likely to buy one are exactly the people who can least afford to waste money on something that delivers nothing. If you want the deeper answers on this, more than a short video can cover, our guide goes into the fuller picture on home energy and these kinds of devices. The QR code for it is right there on the left side of your screen. Open your phone's camera app, point it at that code, and it opens the guide right up. No typing, no searching required. That same QR code stays pinned in the top right corner for the rest of this video, so you can grab it anytime you like while we keep going. Here is what I want to walk you through today. First, exactly what these devices are and what they claim to do. Second, the real science behind that claim and why it simply does not apply to the way a standard home is billed for electricity. Third, where the 30% figure actually comes from and why it is, at best, deeply misleading for a typical household. And then, most importantly, what genuinely does reduce your electric bill in a real, measurable way. Things that have worked for generations and keep right on working. By the end, you will know how to spot these devices for what they are, and you will have a short, practical list of things that will actually make a difference on your next bill. These devices go by several names. You will see them labeled as electricity savers, power factor optimizers, energy controllers, or some variation on those words. They typically cost somewhere between $20 and $60. They plug into a standard outlet. They glow with a small LED light, usually blue or green, which somehow signals trustworthiness, and the packaging is loaded with technical-sounding language about stabilizing your home's electrical current and recovering wasted energy. The marketing is genuinely sophisticated. There are graph-style diagrams showing electrical waveforms. There are references to something called power factor correction. The implication is that your home is quietly hemorrhaging electricity every minute of every day, and this small device is the cure your utility company does not want you to know about. I understand completely why people buy them. The pitch is credible at first glance, the price feels modest if the savings are real, and the idea that you could fix something silently and passively without any effort is appealing to all of us. Now, here is the part that makes this so genuinely frustrating. The concept these devices borrow from is real. Power factor is a legitimate electrical engineering term, and power factor correction is a real practice used in real applications. In industrial settings, factories, large commercial buildings, facilities running big electric motors continuously, power factor genuinely matters. When large motors operate, they can create what engineers call reactive power, power drawn from the grid that does not perform useful work but still registers on certain kinds of meters. Large commercial and industrial customers are sometimes billed for this reactive power separately, and so those operations can achieve real savings by installing power factor correction equipment. That is all completely true, and it is exactly the foundation the sellers of these plug-in boxes stand on when they make their pitch. Here is the piece they are counting on you not to examine too closely. In a residential home, your electric meter does not measure reactive power. It measures real power, the kilowatt hours you actually consume to run your lights, your appliances, your heating and cooling system. Your utility bills you for kilowatt hours, full stop. Even if one of these small devices did meaningfully improve your home's power factor, and most independent testing suggests they produce little to no measurable change, your meter would not record a difference. Your bill would not change. The mathematical connection that makes power factor correction valuable in an industrial setting simply does not exist in a home wired to a standard residential meter. The sellers know this. They are counting on the fact that most of us will hear the technical explanation, find it plausible enough, and not look further. Around this point in the video, if you are finding yourself wanting to go deeper on how home electricity actually works and how to make real sense of your bill, that is exactly what our guide is built for. It covers more ground than I can in a single video. Open your camera app, point it at the QR code in the top right corner of your screen right now. It is still there, and the guide is yours to read at your own pace. Independent testing of these devices has been carried out over the years by engineering enthusiasts, consumer testing organizations, and energy researchers, and the results are remarkably consistent no matter who does the testing. When measured against a proper control, same home, same appliances, same household usage patterns, virtually none of these devices produce a detectable reduction in the kilowatt hours consumed. Some tests have documented a minor improvement in the measured power factor itself, but as I just explained, that improvement does not translate to a change in your meter reading or your bill. A handful of tests have found that certain devices actually draw a small amount of power themselves, meaning they add a slight amount to your consumption rather than subtracting from it. The device that promises to save you money ends up costing you a little extra every month on top of whatever you paid for it. The 30% figure deserves particular attention because it is the number that closes the sale. Where does it come from? In some cases, the companies behind these products have conducted their own internal tests in environments that do not resemble a standard home. Settings with heavy continuous motor loads where power factor genuinely does affect billing. In other cases, the number appears to have no documented reproducible basis at all. Independent reviewers who have pressed these companies for the underlying data have, by many accounts, received nothing credible in return. That 30% is a marketing anchor, large enough to be exciting, technical enough to sound serious, and vague enough that most buyers will never think to challenge it. It is not grounded in verified, real-world testing of homes built on a standard residential meter. I have seen this pattern across enough product categories to recognize it on site, and this is one of the cleaner examples of it. So let us talk about what genuinely moves the needle, because this is the part that actually matters to your wallet. Phantom load, the continuous draw from devices that are switched off but still plugged in, adds up to a real amount in a typical home over the course of a year. Televisions, computers, game consoles, small kitchen appliances, chargers sitting idle, each one is drawing a small but steady amount of power around the clock. A smart power strip that cuts power completely when the main device is off, or the simple habit of unplugging things you are not using, costs essentially nothing and shows up in your bill over time. Older refrigerators are one of the biggest quiet drains in many homes, and this is the one I keep coming back to when I talk to folks about their bills. A refrigerator from the early 1990s can use roughly 2 to 3 times the electricity of a current efficient model. If you have an older unit running in a garage or basement keeping a few things cold, that machine alone may be adding more to your monthly bill than you realize. It is worth looking at the energy label or looking up the model to understand what it actually costs to run. Sometimes retiring that old appliance pays for a replacement faster than you would expect. Heating and cooling is where the largest share of most residential electric bills lives, and it is also where small maintenance habits make the most difference. An air conditioner or heat pump that has not been serviced in a few years, or one running with a clogged filter, works harder and longer to reach your thermostat setting, and that extra effort shows up as extra kilowatt hours on your bill. Replacing the filter is a 2-minute job that costs a couple of dollars and should be done every 1 to 3 months depending on your household. Having the system's coils cleaned and the refrigerant level checked is a modest annual service call, and it can meaningfully improve efficiency in a system that has been running without attention. A programmable thermostat, used correctly, not just set and forgotten, reduces the hours your system runs at full load, and that saving is real and measurable and repeatable every single month. Water heating is another area most households overlook. If your water heater thermostat is set higher than about 120 degrees Fahrenheit, turning it down costs nothing and saves energy every single day without any change to how your hot water feels in ordinary use. Wrapping an older tank-style water heater in an insulating blanket is a one-time small expense that reduces the heat lost through the tank walls overnight, and it pays for itself several times over in a heating season. These are the kinds of measures that careful people did before anyone thought to sell them a plug-in shortcut, and they remain just as effective today. Lighting is a straightforward one. If you still have incandescent bulbs anywhere in your home, replacing them with LED bulbs is one of the few truly simple upgrades that pays you back reliably over time. LED bulbs use a fraction of the wattage for the same light output. They last considerably longer, and the math on the savings is easy to run with no technical knowledge required. It is the kind of thing you do once, and then it quietly works in your favor for years. Before I wrap up here, if you want to go further than what we covered today, the fuller breakdown on managing your home energy use and understanding your bill, open your camera app and point it at the QR code in the top right corner of your screen. The guide goes deeper on this than a short video can, and you can work through it on your own time. Here is the short action plan I would put in front of you. This week, walk through your home and identify whatever is plugged in but not actively in use. Unplug it or put it on a switched power strip. Check your water heater temperature while you are at it. This month, pull the filter on your HVAC system and replace it if it is due. If you have an older secondary refrigerator or freezer running in a garage, find out what it is actually costing you each month. These steps are inexpensive, they have a clear, logical reason for working, and they have been working for longer than these plug-in devices have existed. There is no money in teaching the simple thing that actually works. The simple things are unglamorous, and they do not come in a box with a glowing light. The expensive things, the ones with impressive packaging and a 30% claim on the front, need you to believe there is a technical shortcut that careful people have somehow been missing. There is not. There never really was. The careful old approach is still the right one, and it will always cost you less than the alternative. If you have ever bought one of these devices, or if you know someone who did and noticed a real difference, or noticed nothing at all, I would genuinely like to hear about it in the comments below. Your real experience is worth more to the folks watching than any number I could quote. And if this video was useful to you, I hope you will subscribe and stay with us. Our next video takes a close look at another home energy product that makes a bold promise. And this one, the answer might actually surprise you in a good way.